You see me now, a veteran of 1,000 psychic wars. Good evening to everybody. How are you? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear on a mellow Thursday evening. Greetings to you. Mr. B plays Darth Brooks, Derek Mann. He's Derek Mann. Ptolemachus, Bob Jester 28. How are you guys? And Damien 247 sneaking in there. Welcome to the show. Do me a quick favor before we get to into it, before we get too tied up in things. If you haven't already, please do me a favor, if you would, and click that subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. You will get all kinds of notifications about when we do live streams, when we do non-live stream type videos around here. It's super duper helpful to see those numbers go up, the number of subscribers. And I want to talk to you about the importance of sticking around here. Let's see. Paladin Steve, Victory Lane Exotics Bill. How are you? Greetings, fellow Bill. I greet you. But anyway, now is the time where we talk about the show sponsorship. And the show is brought to you by me, of course, and the awesome merch that we have for this show. It is linked in the description below. I've just got to make sure. Yes, it is linked in the description below. So, of course, I would very much like it if description below. I would very much like it if you guys would consider checking out the links to get very cool artwork on shirts as rendered by Tracy Lesh, and of course, check out Crom, the character record organizational manager software. Everything you need to properly create, but not just create, to also manage your first edition AD&D characters, level them up with milestone leveling, or add XP organically. Are they multi-classed? Guess what? It'll be properly split out. Do they meet the requirements to get a 10% XP bonus on their class or classes? It'll take care of that for you. Do you have a human who can become dual classed? Then you can dual class. Do you have a human who can become dual classed into thief on their way to becoming a bard, which they then class into again? It'll do that. And also for half elves, drain levels from your characters and watch their XP drop appropriately for the amount of XP that they gained. Sell gems and jewelry, buy equipment, get weapons proficiencies as your character acquires them, as they level. Age your character and watch their stats adjust accordingly. Change their alignment and lose a level. Crom does it all, and it can be yours for just $25. It is for Windows 8, 8.1, Windows 10, and Windows 11, 32 or 64-bit. And guess what? It also runs under Wine. Its system requirements are a minimum, because this is the lowest spec machine I tested it on, a minimum 1.33 gigahertz Intel Atom quad core with 2 gigabytes of RAM. It takes up both versions, not counting any characters you might make, about 8 megabytes of hard drive space. So please consider Crom today for your AD&D needs. If you want to know how to purchase it, drop me an email. My email is going to glide out on the screen here in just a second. bsylvie@gmail.com, and get on that Crom grind set today. All right. So, speaking of stuff, I have kind of an important announcement. I'm going to be repeating this announcement a lot. Can you print character sheets from Chrome? Okay, so Chrome does not have a built-in print engine, but Chrome saves in HTML or in plain text. You can pop those suckers open in something as simple as Notepad and print from there, or print a web page. Anyway, so to get back to what I was saying, but thank you for asking me that, Paladin Steve. Oh, I need to turn on the chat. There we go. We are not that far from the holiday season. We're not. You might think we are. We're about 40 days out from the start of October. And that for me is the start of the holidays. For a lot of people, the holiday season is like Thanksgiving to New Year's. To me, the start of the holiday season, October 1st, because I throw Halloween in there with it too. So here's the here's the reason I'm mentioning this. Last year on the show, over the month of December, we had a lot of fun because we did a Dice Christmas Advent calendar, which is coming back this year, but it's cooler and it's better. It's that weirdo AI generated dice calendar that we had, just that ain't happening. I don't think Dudragao is around anymore in a way that matters. So I can't really get another dice Advent dice calendar for the year from them. So I'm going to be making my own this year. Well, more specifically, there is a creator. She is making me some dice. She is making me some custom dice, some holiday dice, and I'm going to have those on a very spiffy Advent calendar that I think you guys are going to absolutely love. And we're going to open those every day of December. But something else that we did, thank you, Starblazer. I really appreciate it. I really genuinely appreciate that. Something else that we did, we had 4 prize drawings in December, 4 holiday gift prize drawings. We did 2 during the month, and then the last 2 were the night of. Just I got so busy the last couple weeks of December, so instead of it being, one every week with the last one coming on Christmas night, this it was 2 during the weeks and then the last 2 on Christmas night. I like that number. I like 4. It's divisible by 2, which is also its result is divisible by 2. We are going to do that again this year. Now, last year I gave out some really cool gifts: a Mobile Suit Gundam model, a D&D cookbook, a Pac-Man mini arcade machine, just like this one, and a Red Dragon miniature, just like that one. This year's gifts, all 4 are the same thing. I'm making them with some assistance. They are D&D themed directly. This may be your only chance to acquire something like this. I personally think it's stuff that is going to be just like, you're going to be floored. You're going to be flabbergasted when I do the reveal. I will reveal what I am giving away in the contest. We're going to spin the wheel. We did that wheel spin to give away a copy of Crom. I like that wheel spinner. Here's who is eligible. people who support the show on Patreon or are YouTube members, any tier, as little as $1 on Patreon or $1.99 on YouTube. Pauper Knight, good to see you. The entry cutoff date is November 1st, 2025. If you don't have an entry in let me back up. If you haven't become a Patreon or a channel member on YouTube, both avenues are there. At whatever tier you choose to support the channel, by November 1st, 2025, the contest will have closed. The entry period of the contest will have closed. On October 1st, I will show you guys what the drawing is for. So if you're like, even $1 a month, I got to be super careful about this. So if you want to wait till October 31st, that's entirely up to you. But this, I promise you, this I absolutely, positively, unwaveringly promise you, you will want to, at the very least, spend $2. That's November and December. Because you can't sign up and then immediately unsub. It's people who stay as Patreons at least to the end of December, when Mrs. the Dungeon Delver and I spin the wheel and do the drawing. When you see what I'm offering you guys, you're going to want to spend that $2. Now, there's people who've been patrons of this channel going all the way back to 2022 at the highest tier of support. There's people who come and go. I am not waiting this. There's more entries for people who spend more. You are buying a ticket. Think of it like that. I'm going to announce this. I'm going to beat this into the ground. You guys are going to get tired of hearing this. And I'm probably going to do a standalone video. I'm definitely going to do a standalone video when I reveal what the prizes are going to be. If this was just some BS, if this was just something that I didn't, I don't know, a shaving kit, something like I wouldn't waste y'all's time with it. This is D&D related, what you're going to be getting. So just get ready for it, because it's gonna rock your damn world. Just letting you guys know. Jane Morrow, good to see you. So I just want you guys to know about it now. I want you to put that put a pin in that. A dwarf shaving kit for epic beards. I couldn't invent a dwarf shaving kit that could keep up with their beard growth. I'm not that skilled. Ship outside of the US. Oh, that is I'll talk to you about it. I'll have to see, because postage is murder. but I'll do my level best. Christopher Sackle, good to see you. It has been a while. So keep this in mind. I'm not saying everybody rush over and support me on Patreon, or click real quick and buy a membership here on YouTube. I'm just saying keep this in mind, because on October 1st, I miss it too, Starblazer. I miss it too. You're not the only one. October 1st is a Wednesday, which is ideal. On October 1st, I will announce the prizes. There are 4. They're identical. They're the same things. And honestly, I don't know how I will be able to top this in 2026. I don't. But if you think like he'll do this again next year, I won't. Yeah, shipping costs now are completely bonkers. And the condition of what you get, it's like I'm almost afraid to send stuff overseas now that isn't like a solid chunk of something. Taku, yeah, it's not it is not the Watty crochet book. Is it a firm handshake from me? I can't get to everyone to do that, so no, it's not a firm handshake for me. But we're not playing. I'm going to drop hints and you guys can guess. I just want y'all to be aware. We are lined up. We're not in the trench run yet on our way to the exhaust port. We're lining up. We're over the big holiday ornament Death Star, lining ourselves up to get into the trench and start the trench run. The trench run itself starts on October 1st. Oh, excellent, Mike. By the way, Scootafire Mike, does that character need to quickly generate a character? Or that player need to quickly generate a character? Let me know. I can hook you up. Anyhow, so that's enough pseudo semi-serious stuff, guys. I just wanted to let you guys know. I want you to strain your ears to listen and keep your minds open and keep your eyes open. Again, the last thing I'm going to mention on it is when I do the reveal, I will also do a video and I will spam the hell out of everywhere with the video. RPG Grandma, good to see you. You're up. You are what's happening. All right, so with all of that business said, so about tonight's video, I was planning on deep diving something that I picked up at EggCon. I literally decided at 6 o'clock tonight to not do so. And it's not necessarily because I don't like what I was going to deep dive on, because I'm going to be honest, what we are going to do a deep dive on, I also don't like. But when I sat down and looked at it, I said, you know what? This needs setup. This needs some setup. This needs the creator here. Like, I was going to deep dive, and then later I was going to have the creator on. I want to have the creator of it on, and I'm not going to spoil out what it was that I was going to do, but I thought I would be doing a disservice if I did this now. Hey, Starblazer, thank you for becoming a new member. Stick around till at least the end of December, and you, my friend, may have a chance at our holiday gift. See, that's how you do it, guys. But whereas I saw some merit in the thing that I at first was going to deep dive tonight, and then I backed away from deep diving, I have been accused of being nothing but a Gary fanboy. That Gary. If Gary made it, it's perfect. If Gary made it, it's the best. If anybody else made it, PU. And that's patently not true. Some of my favorite AD&D modules, were not made by Gary. The A series, for example, C1 and C2. Most of N1 by Doug Niles, the L series by Len Lakofka, pretty much anything that Rob or Jim worked on for late 1E or early 2E. So tonight's module that we're going to deep dive is something by Gary, and I'm not crazy about it. But I did get a physical copy of it recently, and I was like, oh crap, I really need to not jump right in and do this thing that I was going to do. What do? Walking a little oval track in my studio here, and I said, aha, I know what I will do. And so tonight, folks, we are going to take a bit of a deep dive, a bit of a diversion, and we are going to look at Dungeon Module EX2, The Land Beyond the Magic Mirror, written by Gary Gygax. This is the one of the last D&D books that Gary sat down and wrote. Yes, I did. JP Got Rockets mentions that I know there was a needlepoint kits that you could get from TSR back in the 80s. Yes, and it was the beginning of their financial decline. I made this comparison. I made this parallel that TSR was starting to stumble and fall apart. Gary had left, or rather, Gary had left for California, hadn't come back yet. This was the Blooms engaging in massive nepotism. Massive nepotism. And I said over on X, TSR did this when D&D was at an nadir, and people were like, oh, no, blah, 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 no, I will get a crochet book. I think this is the most adorable thing in the world. Here's an old hard hat, blah, 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 blah. Guys, I'm not placing any value on whether or not you like crochet or not. I am saying the D&D 2024 is not doing the numbers it should be doing, and D&D wasn't doing the numbers it should have been doing. It's like poetry, it rhymes. So, let's talk about The Land Beyond the Magic Mirror. And I'm gonna share the screen here. So, what is The Land Beyond the Magic Mirror? This module, as the module code indicates, EX2, is actually the second in the series. I have a physical copy of EX2. I always like to show off a physical copy and not just a PDF, because I want, if there's stuff in there, if there's something exceptional, I want you guys to be aware, like, hey, this comes with a poster map. Hey, this comes with counters. Hey, the cover actually unfolded like this versus a PDF, which can be chopped into pieces to be arranged conveniently to fit Adobe's vile little standard. But I don't have a physical copy of EX1. I could have bought EX1 and said, we're going to look at EX1 first. and again, I wanted a physical copy. So a lot of people have complained, and rightly so. A lot of people have complained, and rightly so, that Gary never showed people Castle Greyhawk. As far as I'm aware, there will never be a proper release of Castle Greyhawk, but Gary showed us hints. Isle of the Ape. What's another good one? Well, I mean the EX modules, EX1 and EX2. Hall of Many Pains, Upper Works, little hints about what Castle Greyhawk could entail. And in EX2, Gary took us on a trip through a portal in Castle Greyhawk. Dungeon Land and the Land Beyond the Magic Mirror are very fanciful modules that you get into them, and EX2 follows right exactly along behind. It is very tightly wed to EX1. So let's dive into it. Let's take a look at it and see, what this is all about. First of all, it's got a very 2E styling to it. I'm not crazy about that. We have some pretty good cover art here. This is God, his name is right on the tip of Holloway, Jim Holloway. Now, I've said this a lot because I've seen a lot of Jim Holloway's artwork. I love Jim Holloway's sci-fi art. He did stuff for Hero Games. He did art for BattleTech and MechWarrior. I never cared for his fantasy art. It was all gorgeous and well done, but Jim Holloway's art, Jim Holloway's sci-fi art is top shelf. It is the beating heart of Star Frontiers, for example. I just never cared for it for D&D. But that's a me thing. With that said, this is a competently executed cover. It certainly is better than the cover of WG4 Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun. There's some subtext going on in WG4. And so we have some Larry Elmore on the flyleaf here. So what has happened in this module is an adventuring party has literally gone into a lethal Alice in Wonderland escapade. So we've got a group here trying to escape a giant clam. Her foot's stuck. The dwarf is trying to pry it up. This guy's already, no, I see now. He's trying to pry it open. They'll probably get her out. And this is an adventure in a wondrous place for characters 9 to 12. So let's go ahead and read. Zoom in a bit. This module is the companion to Dungeon Land, originally part of the Greyhawk Castle dungeon complex. It is designed so that it can be added to Dungeon Land, used alone, or made part of virtually any campaign. It has an EX designation to indicate that it is an extension of a regular dungeon level. In the case of this module, a far-removed extension where all adventuring takes place on another plane of existence that is quite unusual, even for a typical AD&D universe. This particular scenario has been a consistent favorite with adventurers new to the overall Greyhawk campaign, and it is presented here for the amusement and delight of jaded players everywhere. The module contains maps for an extensive level set both indoor and outdoors, keyed encounters, extensive DM notes, and details of new monsters and treasure items. Can the most capable of adventurers deal with the bizarre? Is their true element the harrowing dungeon or the wilderness, or can they handle the unexpected in unique ways? Find out now. So let's do so. So the first thing I'm going to say is that intro definitely softens some of the blow here. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be very tongue in cheek. And I suppose, you know, if you've slain Loth, if you've defeated a Sararak, if you've unraveled the mystery of the crashed starship, although that's kind of getting closer to this than the previous two, maybe you do want something that's a little fun house. So your D&D saw. All right, so this talks a lot. There's Gary just lays some cards on the table. Those of you who've already used or even read through Dungeonland need not pay as close attention to this preface as must other DMs who have missed that opportunity. The Land Beyond the Magic Mirror is quite an unusual module. To the best of my knowledge, the only one like it is its companion mentioned above. As you read the material herein, it will become clear that the premise upon which the scenario is based is somewhat unusual in AD&D game terms. It is supposed that somewhere in the infinite multiverse exists the partial plane upon whereon young Alice made strange discoveries after passing through a looking glass. Furthermore, it presumes that this partial plane is one of but the endless variations on the original, one in which famous fictional characters are altered to different states entirely. In any case, the scenario offers new vistas in exploration and adventure. Here, players will greet lovely talking flowers, see and speak with Humpty Dumpty, interact with a laughable Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and have a chance to stroll a beach with the droll walrus and compassionate carpenter. Unless you are using this module as a companion to Dungeonland, do not alert players that you are planning to have them adventure herein. Keep your possession of the scenario secret, for much of the joy of the module lies in observing the players' faces when they begin encountering the strange inhabitants of this place. Players should not see a white rabbit, fall down a rabbit hole, or merely pass through a looking glass. For those methods of entry, put them on guard by giving them an idea of what is ahead. In this module, the entry point to the partial plane is by means of a dwemer mirror that draws players through its surface despite their best efforts to remain where they are. Thus, they are tossed unceremoniously into the realm of wondrousness. Of course, because this is a companion to Dungeonland, you may have the adventurers journey through that module before they encounter anything in this scenario. Several places in each module allow easy transfer to its counterpart. And no, I'm not going to read every line of this. It would take days, a days long stream. Did your players enjoy this Mage's Musing? Okay, I'm going to be honest. I have not run this module. I have not played in this module. Something about this is very Airplane 2, the sequel to me. I get why it's supposed to be entertaining, but it falls flat for me. I would think in the 1980s, several of them would. I mean, remember, Disney was periodically re-releasing Alice in Wonderland. There were a couple of live action adaptations that would show up. Nowadays, probably not so much. Anyway, it talks about how here, now this is a bit of a heartbreak. The entry point for the land beyond the magic mirror will be shown on the proper level of the Castle Greyhawk dungeon series when it is finally done. Oof. Oof. It's another reason I'm as that is likely to be years from now. It is probable that you will be inserting this module into your existing campaign, be it in a dungeon, castle, or elsewhere. Here are suggested methods for making a transition. And then he's got, of course, a magic mirror. They have to go through a Mr. Fog. They explore some place in order to obtain a prize of some sort. Gary was fond of this. Gary was very fond of this. I worked on Teeth of the Barkesh Nor. And having gone through all of Gary's notes, it is the same vibe as this. You go through a magic door and you find yourself in a demi-plane. So anyway, he's got some suggestions there. Now, this is something I don't like lists of these spells don't work. I will abide by some of them sometimes when I see them. By and large, I don't like that kind of thing. It feels very railroady. It feels very gimmicky. If you're making your module see if spells break your module, or if you just can't stand the idea of players coming up with clever applications of spells, then I don't think you've written a good module. If your module can't withstand, and I mean, this is by the guy who created the spells he's saying don't let the players have access to, or they don't work properly. I don't like that. This, like animal summoning, any level. Cacodemon, I mean, you're kind, I mean, it's supposed to be lighthearted, so yeah, summoning a demon maybe a little much. Call lightning. There's ample combat opportunities in here. Out of doors. Call woodland being. Chariot of Sistar. I would have Chariot of Sistar work, but only in this demi-plane. It can only kind of move you around in there. Conjure elemental, control weather, creeping doom, dimension door, fly or gate. I mean, if the concern is that you're going to gate something in to help you beat the level, just have it say, hey, look, I'm powerful magic here. I'm bound to obey what goes on here. Levitate, monster summoning, pass plant, pass wall, plant control, plant door, teleport, transport via plants, weather summoning, wind walk, or x-ray vision. I just don't see the problem. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Canic. This is for levels 9 to 12 or 9 to 14. What is it? 9 to 12, yeah. So they're gonna have access to these spells. This just screams to me, don't let druids, clerics, magic users, or illusionists spoil you having the characters on. Exactly, Damien. If they're too powerful for the module, I mean, any number of these spells can be negated by anti-magic shell, by I mean, DM hand wavium. It doesn't work here. I mean, Gary's got a trope here that shows up a lot. Yeah, and I agree with you, Rob. They should be able to use resources to solve problems. Again, I think like teleport, or you can have these spells altered. So Gary, I'm sorry, I don't agree with you here. Forgive me. So the first place you run into I know. And it's heavy weather down here, Gonzalo. I could get a lightning bolt for that. Um, I believe so. I believe there's some magic items that will do that. I mean, you don't want them pass walling through the house. Just anti magic shell the whole thing. Hey, do you know how hard it is to pop open something that's wizard locked? It ain't easy. Now, one thing that we do hit here, and I think this is actually very sweet. We are Land of the Magic Mirror, EX2, Gonzalo, EX2. Um, the wooden house here is a tribute to Don Kay. Murrayland is Don Kay. It's not Merlin, it's Merland, or Murrayland, or Moyland, if you like. And the place, of course, is filled with modern conveniences. Which, I mean, you can pick up ray guns and powered armor in S3. I'm not down on that. The place contains paneled walls, strange torch brackets bearing crystal tipped torches, some very odd furniture, well made carpets, and a carpeted wooden staircase leading upward. The torches are sockets for light bulbs, furnishing are typical of a late Victorian era home. Cloth coverings hang in front of the windows, and the draperies on each window are nearly closed. These items, as well as a table, chair, stands, and couch, are of unusual craftsmanship and style, although not unlike others you have seen. A strange box-shaped thing stands in one corner of the room. The room also contains a large cabinet with several drawers. It's a guests-only parlor filled with plush Victorian furniture. The box-shaped object is a non-functioning piano-like instrument, a reed organ. No amount of trying, magical otherwise, will make the object function, move it, or harm it in any way. It radiates a whole spectrum of strong magic. A very rainbow of magic. But in this rainbow, $1 internet dollar to anyone who can tell me what that. You are going to experience pain, but not just a normal pain. And you can find some treasure here if you want to loot Don K's house. The goblets and crystal decanter there are worth 1,600 gold. And then we come to another place here. That's right, Gonzalo. Here is an internet dollar for you. Let's just reach out and take it. Yes, I am too. I won't knock any of this for Gary remembering Dawn. I like gold. Anyway, so we get to the, there's, the description here, this largest room is, this is another entry point you can get to it. This largest room is cluttered indeed. Large colorful rugs lie on its hardwood floor. The walls are paneled to about waist height, and metal brackets with strange crystal-tipped torches stick out of them. Several table and floor candelabra also hold these weird torches. The couch, chairs, table, and other furniture are of unusual design and workmanship. All around the walls are glass boxes that contain dead insects or else odd bits of brightly colored paper stuck on a dark background, placed behind glass and framed with wood. Several animals and birds are sitting on shelves and tables. They are regarding you with unwinking stares. In strange contrast to all of this are numbers of crudely made weapon heads, possibly made by cavemen, proudly displayed beside the arcane materials and unknown insects. A large book on a table near the windows has white pages covered with more small, colorful bits of parchment. On either side of the windows are shelves that, in addition to holding the small birds and animals, contain devices that resemble sundials stood on edge. Nearby is a huge mirror, point of entry possibly, fixed to the wall. Across from it is a tall thing made of glass, wood, and metal, a rectangular box at least 7 feet tall. Be careful dissing AD&D around these parts, Gravewalkers. Anyway, so there's obviously a bunch of taxidermied animals. This Victorian-style room is with displayed collections of moths and butterflies and beetles, a like compilation of postage stamps from Earth up to circa 1953 AD, Indian arrowheads, lance points, and other similar lithic weaponry. The small animals and birds are stuffed owls, foxes, raccoons, etc. At least 24 clocks of various size and shape are in the room, but none of them will work. The other large object is a grandfather clock, has no face on its dial, but as soon as anyone approaches, a pair of eyes will open on its face. The pendulum will swing back and forth, and the face will also spread a mouth that will say loudly, tick-tock, tick-tock, etc. etc. Tick-tock, 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 etc. Tick-tock, 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 etc. Tick-tock, 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 etc. Tick-tock, 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 etc. They will note a small bit of yellowed paper jutting from the glass door of the instrument. The clock radiates a whole spectrum of magic. If spoken to, it will chime by saying ding or bong to the nearest hour. If asked the time, the device will say as appropriate: bedtime, time to get up, breakfast time, dinner, time for supper, tea time, walk in the garden time, work time, and so on. The feature of the clock are plainly discernible when it speaks. The clock has no other powers. If threatened, it runs away. The writing on the yellowed scrap of paper can be discovered only if its surface is scanned by someone able to read languages. The note says, "Dear Maryland, sorry you weren't home when I bought Grandpa C back all fixed and running. No time to look at the rest now. We'll fix the organ when I get a spare day. See you at Cousin Z's place, Heward." And yes, that is Heward of Heward's Mystical Organ. So we have the dining room. Scroll down a little bit. You guys can kind of get a feel for it. There's kitchen. One cabinet is very cold. It contains an imprisoned essence of para-elemental cold and is used as a freezer and refrigerator. The magic cannot be removed or dispelled. The silverware is extensive, but not worth more than about 5 gold pieces per piece. An extensive table setting for 8, that could be kind of helpful. So there's the pantry, the conservatory, the library. There's the study. As with the other rooms of this house, this one is partially paneled in wood. Its ceiling is beamed, and the plaster between the beams is painted a pale hue. The polished hardwood floor is spread with rugs. Scattered throughout the place are a pair of upholstered chairs, a bookcase, a desk, a small stand, and many torch holders. The first thing that catches the eye are a large sheet of vellum and 2 scrolls. The vellum carries a note readable by all. It says, "Dear folks, so happy you were able to stop in during my absence. Please be careful not to disturb anything. Check to see that the plants and pets are being properly cared for. They should all be alive and healthy. Help yourself to whatever you need to eat. Mind you don't eat me out of house and home, though. The 2 scrolls might be of some use to you in the adventures ahead. If you notice any small objects you're in need of, help yourselves, but leave the silverware alone. If you should see Zagig, do tell him that Kyotum and I are waiting for the Denkainen, who will be along soon enough. Have fun, Dr. M." The scrolls are spell scrolls. One contains Merlin's Ogre, the other Merlin's Void. The desk has various quills, inks, papers, etc., not magical. And then we go on to the end and can get the spell descriptions for those. So there's just a bunch of junk in the cellar, a bare room. There is a wine storage room with 1,000 containers. Both homemade and estate bottled wines are here. Some are old and vinegary. Some are rather awful, the homemade. And I will tell you guys what that is a reference to in just a second. Several dozen bottles are of exceptional quality, easily worth 100 to 800 gold pieces each. If any quantity of any type of wine is consumed, refer to the effects of the alcohol and drugs section of the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 82. So, Gary and Dawn, when they were kids, in Lake Geneva, they went one day and they collected a whole bunch of dandelions to make dandelion wine. And they forgot about it. They made dandelion wine and they put it in jars and then they forgot about it. And when they remembered it, I don't know, some months later, Gary said they tried it and it was just absolutely horrid. It's like it was the most awful stuff. So I think that's kind of a side nod to that. So we have a laboratory and workroom. Can't figure out any of that stuff. That's all technological. And then we have the game room, bare chamber, 15 by 20, a large sand covered table nearly fills its center. The top of the table has a wooden rim that contains the sand. The shelves that cover the walls hold thousands of brightly painted statuettes. A few old and hard chairs are scattered about. A small closet off the room holds a table with folding legs, strange boxes of heavy paper, a can of dice with some non-cubal shapes, mounds of lichen, wood shaped to resemble miniature terraced hills, and so forth. Exactly. Exactly. I have a strange recollection that the wine that you can find in G1 is really valuable stuff if your party gets it out intact. But then there's like an effect. It's drow mushroom wine. If anybody drinks it, there's like I think they have to save versus poison or something, or they will consume it until they are completely insensate. Then we have the sitting room. There's no treasure there. There's a bath. There's the attic. However, there is a ghost up there, the witch ghost. And that is a ghost, by the way. That is literally an actual ghost. While Merlin was relatively capable of handling this hideous monster and thus allowed it to remain where it is to guard things, the party will be dismayed indeed. As soon as anyone sets foot in the alcove, the monster will be alerted, and when possible, it will show itself to affect the maximum number. It will then use its magic jar, and if that fails, it will give its hideous banshee groan to slay members of the party before it ages the survivors by touch. It guards a number of treasured items stored in the nearby armoire, boots of levitation. Gary, you told us levitation wouldn't work here. You forbade it. A wand of negation, a cloak of protection +2, a brooch of shielding, a ring of fire resistance, and a +3 buckle knife. See the magic items section on 32. An ivory box worth 500, which holds 12 base 1000 GP gems. There is also a small leather belt pouch in which there are 10 bars of platinum, each the size of 12 platinum pieces. The witch ghost regards these items as her own, and the creature will fight to the death to prevent their loss. So, should he show up? Here are Merlin's stats, and it's up to you, the DM, to decide whether or not he's going to show up. I have a feeling you guys are probably not taking my comment that I don't particularly like this one. I'm getting a general vibe from the audience that you guys are digging this a lot more than I am, I guess is what I'm saying. So Merlin is a magic user. Bracers of defense AC4, ring of protection +5 with a dexterity bonus, armor class -5, 77 hit points. He has the shoes of Farlangen, see the end of the module, staff of power, 38 caliber Derringer, 2 shots as dart +3, damage 4 to 9, 4 to 9, a ring of invisibility, improved version, and 25% magic resistance. Full complement of spells logically chosen to maximize his offensive and defensive potential. It is 75% likely that if he returns at all, he will be with Kyotum, who has stats and power similar to Merlin. Each has a 50% likelihood of being able to summon either Farlangan or Zagig, but not both. These will be included in the deity section of the World of Greyhawk fantasy world setting, and yes, they are. It has many modern conveniences as he cares to possess. The lights work if the generator is functioning. The water upstairs can be turned on from the cellar. The place contains a movie projector, film, phonograph, VCR, and many cassettes. If you're willing to go through the routine, feel free to include them. In all cases, be certain to have the house highly resistant to all forms of magical and physical attack, even though it is only made from wood. There are many strong protections placed upon the house so that it will not be destroyed easily. For example, fires will not harm the building or its contents other than the firewood, of course. Regardless of destruction, if and when the owner returns, he will use a wish to restore things. No gunpowder. No Gonzala. Great examples of what I would fix in D&D because of high level Derringer is nearly harmless. The scaling just does not work. Characters will not be blamed for helping themselves to minor quantities of food, wine, candles, matches, acid, denatured alcohol, and so on. Likewise, if the witch ghost is slain, Merlin will have no objection to the taking of the treasure there, items he has not used in many years. Let's see. The charming and lovely flowers. So the garden of colossal flowers. So is Blue Oyster called among the cassettes? I gotta be honest with you. If I were to run a module and put something like this in there for D&D, yeah, I'd put a lot of pop culture references in there. But again, I have a feeling you guys like this more than I do. So we have all of these talking flowers. They are vain, silly, and rude. Whenever anyone approaches within 10 feet or less, the flowers in the bed will turn their faces to the creature and demand to know why he or she is there, make disparaging remarks about the individual's appearance, insult his or her intelligence, and so on. Play this to the hell and be as irritating as possible to the players so that they will have their characters react with as much anger as possible. Anger at a talking flower at that. Heap scorn and derision on your players, and here's a mechanical method for you to get away with it. They have gemstone eyes. And if you attack them, they summon a giant bumblebee and giant ants. Now, I am going again. I'm gonna say, are we having an Alice in Wonderland moment? You have a feeling this will go over real well with 5e people, maybe. Even though I was in chess club in high school, big shock, I know. That must literally shake you to your core. I am not fond of chess puzzles. I hated that one in Seventh Guest. I didn't like Seventh Guest. I wasn't good at video adventure games. But I find chess puzzles in TTRPGs to be gimmicky, unfun. This isn't too bad, but yeah, chess club, but there to meet the girls. Right. I think there was one girl in chess club, and she was the girlfriend of a senior who was in chess club. But we're also talking about 40 years ago, so I don't rightly remember. And it said it cannot be assumed that each and every DM is thoroughly conversant with the rules of chess. The true challenge of the chessboard field requires such knowledge. I don't know. I just feel like this is something that could just grind a campaign to a halt. It is the unfun version of the Oglaf Lair of the Trap Master moment. Nobody talks about Chess Club Paladin, Steve. So anyway, yeah, Gary breaks it down there. How to bring your game to a screeching halt. Slow the game down. Slow the game down. Give me a chessboard and slow the game down. Now here's Tweedledee and Tweedledum, which I'm not gonna lie, I was really kind of surprised that Gary made them monks. I guess he wanted to lethal it up and give the party a chance to. Who wrote this, Gary? Right? um but yes, you can come a cropper, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. um and you can go on a little fetch quest for them. uh and then you come to the large walrus and human. Although, Gary, I might have said the human and large walrus. So is the human large too? I don't know. So the carpenter is a thief, a 15th level. But basically, you can do a fetch quest for them. Um, and they're just looking to rip you off. You can go down and fight a giant clam if you want. and get giant pearls. There's something here called a Bandersnatch 9-hit dice. And there's the Magic Mirror House itself. Second floor, cellar. See, old shop beside the river. I want to see. Let's see. Oh yes, Alamiya Noble. So we'll check out the old shop beside the river. Here it gets better. Thank you for hanging out, Whelp. But here I think the adventure gets a little bit better, just in my assessment. Like I can go through this module, like the old shop beside the river that has a Lamia Noble watching it. Yeah, I mean that's something you could just neatly excise out and put, in some forgotten, miserable forest somewhere in the world of Greyhawk near a swamp. But anyway, the clearing that you have entered has a broad river bounding its southwestern edge. On the bank of this river is a small, badly weathered shop. The sign above the door shows a cone-shaped seashell out of which all sorts of things are spilling: food, weapons, jewelry, and so on. The door to the shop is open, and behind the counter sits a sheep-faced old woman. She is knitting and pays no attention to you. If the party enters the shop, continue. Many shelves line the shop, and they are crowded with all sorts of things. There are supplies for exploring, weapons, armor, helmets, shields, jewelry, food, clothing, writing materials, and pens, books, dishes, plates, flasks, all that stuff there. The more the players attempt to tell what's in the shop, the more vague and uncertain its contents become. Where they stare, the shelves seem to be bare, while out of the corners of their eyes, they can note shelves packed with goodies. And it's an illusion. It's a Lamia Noble. She maintains the illusion of the shop in order to lure victims near. Note that her magic touch might not only convey a spell effect, but it will also drain 1 point of wisdom from a victim. She will attack by touch spells and wisdom drain as soon as she notes the adventurers are suspicious. She will attempt to charm and suggest first, then shock, missile, slow, stink, enfeeble, burning. I think that probably means magic missile. Not the shimmering Bandersnatch. This isn't 3rd edition where my character can blind fight. Hey, Jay Tyler, good to see you. Anyway, yeah, so there's the Lamia. If in trouble, she'll use images and water breathing to slip into the river and escape. There's a giant crab that you can encounter. And here's Humpty Dumpty. Very intelligent and sarcastic creature is perched atop the wall, here to have fun insulting anyone passing, as well as to observe who or what is in the area and report it to the king. Sorry. Sarah, by the way, wave of mutilation. The correct answer is Sarah, because Sarah is Tom Baker's companion, and Tom Baker is the best Doctor Who. I don't watch Doctor Who. I the little tiny bit, I didn't know the gimmick of Doctor Who, that like they kept bringing in new Doctor Who's. And I saw like they were doing a run through of it on a local PBS station one year when I was an adolescent. And I saw like 3 episodes and I was like, the effects kind of suck, but this is not bad. And I was like, Tom Baker seems really cool. And then they began like the next one and it was somebody different and I didn't like him. So I was like, what the hell? So I told my friends at school, like the following Monday, like, so I watched Doctor Who for the first time, and I explained what happened, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's the premise. They get a new actor periodically." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't like the new guy. I like Tom Baker, Santa." So, I mean, he was kind of hippy dippy, but I liked like there was just something about him. I just something about his presentation of the character just it seemed to work. The scarf, the hat, the mysterious nature, but having fun with it, never laughing at his human companions, always laughing with them. If he had wisdom to dispense to them, it was always like it was Holmes to Watson, like not like I'm going to talk down to you because you're an idiot, but like when you think about it, it was actually fairly simple. All I did was this, and so that just like anything and everything before or after, like people like no, just watch it, this guy's good. Oh, Pertwee's the best, and yada yada. And I'm like, I cannot watch this. This is like watching water sublimate off cardboard. It's not even paint drying. Yeah, Derek. But like there was stuff that would pop up and he would seem puzzled by, like, I gotta try and sort this out. So the few episodes of Doctor Who that I saw that I ever liked had Tom Baker. So anyway, so there's Humpty Dumpty. Um and he has a few spells he can throw at you. But if you break him, all the king's horses and all the king's men. Oh my god. Okay, see, this is another. I just want you guys to make sure that we're all seeing that. If you manage to break Humpty Dumpty, 24 woolly rhinoceroses, all the king's horses, 72 frost giants, 72. I'm sorry, levels 9 to 12, 72 frost giants. Gary, Bubby, you literally might have said a crack opens in the ground, the party falls into it bodily, and they die. The end. 72 frost giants. They're gonna stand back 72 D20 attacks. Let's say the party is 9. On average, every party member is going to get hit for 2 to 20 points of damage if the frost giants decide to stand back. That is completely bonkers. But they do say, I mean, you know, they don't attack immediately. I'm just screwing with you guys. It's an illusion. Lurking near the secret door is a messenger who's responsible for the trick of King's Messenger. So yeah, you're not going to have to deal with 72 frost giants, guys. That's an internet dollar for Robert Phillips. You face death itself in the form of 999 nomads, 999 nomads, 999 nomads, and 999 nomads when you walk into a house in Scarabray. It's like you kick open a door, 4,000 nomads rush you. Yeah, it's just one gnome illusionist thief. So basically, you just keep running into stuff like this. The red and white queens, of course, they're polymorph night hags. You cast fireball. Yeah. I don't know. If I made it through that and I found out that little bastard was sitting behind that rock, I might cast fireball anyway. Then, of course, there's the Mad Feast. Somebody had asked about a mimic earlier. There's a joint of roast meat, like picture like a cow's leg, but it's a mimic. The plum pudding is a black pudding. I mean, look at what's coming after you in the feast hall: a mimic, a black pudding, a barbed devil, night hags, larvae, giant wolverines, carnivorous apes, bullywugs. So that's more or less it. I mean, I don't want to delve too much into the monsters and whatnot. You can find all these in Unearthed Arcana, Monster Manual 2, and so on. This is it's just such a weird module. It's just so odd. Again, there are parts of it I would use. The Lamia running the shop. You know, that's something you can stick along a trail. The house, I guess, is kind of interesting. We're in it now, up to our necks. Oh, sorry, that's Gregory Peck, and not a particularly good one. I mean, they're not so random that, like, you know, oh, well, here's a guy based on the neighborhood dog catcher. Here's Godzilla. Here's Teddy Roosevelt. Here, they do follow the theme of Alice in Wonderland, but the overall choice of Alice in Wonderland seems kind of weirdly random, but also disconnected from Merlin's house and so on. I mean, you're gonna, I don't know. No, it doesn't excuse the nerfing of spells. I would take the nerfing list away. I just, I don't know, guys. I'm not super duper fond of this module. I just, I don't. Some of the stuff. Let me tell you guys a little bit here. So some of this stuff is reminiscent of some of the things that were in Teeth of the Bark Eshnor, but they worked better in Teeth of the Bark Eshnor. I think as sparse compared to this as the Teeth of the Bark Eshnor notes were, the things in Teeth of the Bark Eshnor just fit better. You had topiary animals in the savannah area of Teeth of the Bark Eshnor that could attack the party. You had poison raspberry. There were raspberry bushes. Each raspberry was a ruby, but you could get poisoned by the thorns if you reached in to take it. Doc Flamingo, good to see you. Doc's going to be on the show next week, by the way, guys. We're having Doc in as our guest. So, and there's stuff in there like a map that misdirects you. North is south and east is west. So you ask the party, are you guys going north across the desert? Yes, we're going north across the desert. You soon find yourself where you entered the desert. Well, we'll go east. Okay. And you secretly tell them things that are to the west and so on and et cetera like that. So it doesn't, to me, have the same I don't know, maybe am I just being like anti-fun here? Am I taking something that's actually joyful and amusing? Is this something that you guys would enjoy playing? Let's say I just play it straight. Just I play it exactly as it's written, and I take away all those potentially useful high-level spells. Would you enjoy this? Because I think like one element of it. David Mills says yes. Damien's kind of neutral on it. Taku says no. Like one or two elements from it could be entertaining. Gonzalo, I as soon as that popped up, I heard that in my head in Diedrich Bader's voice. No, man, hell no. I think you'd get your ass kicked for doing something like that. It is kind of ridiculous RPG. Yeah, taken as a whole, I think this is like trying to drink from the whimsy fire hose. See, to me, a whimsical dungeon is like, I think White Plume Mountain is about as whimsical as I like to get. Now, I love White Plume Mountain. I used to hate it with a fury of 1,000 suns. And I sat down and I read it and I finally played it with a group. And I had so much damn fun running White Plume Mountain. It is now way up there as one of my favorite modules. I love White Plume Mountain. To me, everything that you find in EX2 Dungeon Land is seasoning, but nobody wants to eat just a big bowl of bay leaves or red pepper flakes, right? Nobody wants to make dinner just out of coriander. And I feel like you're doing a disservice to your players if you take them through this module with the expectation, oh, they're going to love it, the whimsy, oh, it's so fun. I just, and I get it. D&D doesn't have to be Descent into the Depths of the Earth or Tomb of Horrors or Keep on the Borderlands, particularly the Temple of Evil Chaos, every time. And David, I think that's a good, that is a fine position to take. Cast your mind back to 1975, 1976 Wisconsin, Lake Geneva. You might have been going over to Gary's house to play literally every day for hours on end. After a year of this, 6 months of this, 3 months of this, your brain might have been turning into tapioca over, I open the door, what's in the room? Well, it's a 30 by 40 room and there's ogres inside. Okay. I draw my sword and rush in and attack. Bob will cast magic missile. Jim's going to try and hide in shadows and backstab. So maybe under those circumstances, I would either use elements out of this in an otherwise standard dungeon or overworld campaign map. Well, Robert, I made the menagerie. I made the menagerie. I didn't make the whole dungeon. I have enough Dwarven Forge. I can make the whole dungeon in Dwarven Forge and then have the menagerie. But I would more take this with just bits and pieces of this. As a module itself, it doesn't work for me. But this is one of those things that you might have literally had to be there for it to work for you. So again, I did this. First of all, I had the physical module, and I always like to hold up the physical module for you guys. It's pretty much what we saw on screen with the two maps. Now it does have nice maps. I will, and one of those is unfortunately the chessboard map, but it does have a world map and it does have maps of the house. So if you need a house or you need a section of world map, it's right there. It is certainly not the worst D&D module ever. The worst D&D module is a module that tries to do the whimsy thing and fails even harder, and that is ST1 Up the Garden Path, which we'll do a deep dive on one day. So I just wanted to go through that with you guys. And again, I like to have the physical product in hand to share with you guys rather than only a PDF, because there might be stuff in there that you guys would want to see: counters, bigger maps, fold out maps, that sort of thing. That's right. That's non-repro blue. That's what they call that, non-repro blue. And they will do that. They will print things in blue ink for image removal, so that early photocopiers, if you're using those in pre-press, you could block out text or images and things like that as part of the pre-press process. And it was also extremely convenient for TSR to stop people from copying D&D module maps. Easily defeated with a yellow filter. Go get those clear plastic book report covers. Just split it down the spine and then photocopy your D&D maps, and they come out black. I have a tactile fetish, which is correct for DMs of my age. Well, but anyway, guys, I feel like we're kind of in agreement on it. But if you don't think so, guys, leave a comment down below. If you watch this video later, if you're like, oh my God, EX1 and EX2 are some of my favorite modules of all time, how dare you, sir? And you hold a different opinion, and you want to leave a comment down below stating that is absolutely fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not allergic to dissenting opinions. As for me, I'm going to get on out of here. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Guys, I'm going to beat that drum constantly between now and October 1st about there's cool stuff coming for the Christmas gift drawing. You will need to be a YouTube member or a Patreon who has signed up before November 1st, 2025 to be entered in the drawing. I will beat on that. And after November 1st, a lot less so, because we're doing the reveal in October. But October, you're going to get reminded constantly about that. Hey, Savo, sitting there all quietly. By the way, follow Savo at Feifel the Twit on Twitter. Thank you, Engine Joe. Thank you very much. I will send you a copy. I will send you the download link to Crom as soon as I get that. Thank you. You guys go follow Feifel on X to see some beautiful artwork, some absolutely beautiful artwork. All right, so that will finish it up, guys, for the evening. Thank you all for being here. I don't know about me, or I don't know about you guys, but I do know about me, rather. I think Gary missed a beat. I think he should have found a way to work in some owl bears. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.